Ole, Ole, Ole. How much of a blame can you blame that person? Like every scapegoat that you're making is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I don't know how to contemplate this in the contemporary terms, but have actually Manchester United improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? I understand the frustration of going out of 4 consecutive cup semi-finals, be it the Europa League, be it the League Cup twice now and the FA Cup. But there is actually a change in proceedings that what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had and what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is with Manchester United right now. But before heading into the most part of the video, if you're into tactical part of things, then proceed. Otherwise, this is not a video for you. Subscribe would be amazing. You've shown me a lot of love and keep showing love. So let us dissect what happened yesterday. The lineups, as you saw, mostly were 4-3-3 for both. Talking about the lineups, United played with a 4-3-3 where Pogba was on the left, Rashford wide right, Martial central, and the likes of Lindelof, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw in the occupying the defense. A midfield partnership of Bruno accompanied with the industrious Scott McTominay and Fred. But talking about City's lineup, they played roughly the same, with starting with Riyad Mahrez down the central false 9 position. This is what it looks on paper. If I just improve it on a bit and take the average positions in the game, United actually did not play with a diamond, but rather played with a square in midfield. Yes, a square. Now City and Pep Guardiola fans who have read Inverting the Pyramid might know played with an inverted pyramid throughout the match. Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan in those numbers, making up the numbers, Fernandinho sitting back, and Mahrez, your Sterling and Phil Foden out wide right. Now if I just merge them two, now you can see man for man how the match turned out. And as part of the performance, both of the goals came from individual errors. Now you just cannot blame a coach for individual errors, right? Both of the games, until the John Stones goal, United had their own game plan, was successful. Pogba was playing on the wide left, and Pogba was problematic for Joe Cancelo to deal with. Similarly, Phil Foden, even though he's a good attacker, could not contain Rashford, and Zinchenko is not actually that much of a defender. Now, talking about the match, City was coming off an impressive 3-0 victory, and City had a game postponed and players out due to COVID, and still fielded a side where it was stronger man for man and position for position, superior to United on all fronts. Probably the only player that goes up to City's level is Bruno Fernandes, going up with Kevin De Bruyne, and maybe Dean Henderson a bit better than their goalkeeper. But honestly, this is a Manchester City team. These are the Centurion City teams. And now if you judge a coach's performance based on facing this, then that is a testament of how United have actually improved, that we can put on a fight. We had not lost against City after that Carabao Cup match, last Carabao Cup semi-final last year. 3 derby wins on the trot, another one a 0-0 stalemate, but still United were in the game. Pep Guardiola had shown United some respect. How much of Pep Guardiola have you seen that in recent times? Changing their shape, going with the 2-man pivot instead of the 2 attacking midfielders. You don't see that often, do you? And City were charged up. Despite actually United's win, United actually had to grind out results, and those are exhausting both mentally and physically. Now talking about more tactics, much has been said about Wan-Bissaka not being a great overlapping fullback. Now here you can see in a slide how Wan-Bissaka is isolated on the right wing. He's triple marked by the retreating left winger, central midfielder covering that channel, and the left back who is cutting off the pass as well as zonally marking him. He just does not have a pass to play. What do you expect him to do? Dribble past 20 people and make the cross? Not possible. Not even your Trent Alexander-Arnold can do that. But comparatively, how Rashford played as an out-and-out right winger in the Aston Villa match, and he was providing that support for Wan-Bissaka, and he came up with an assist. He should have had 3 if Pogba or Martial didn't fudge up. He should have had 3 assists. And suddenly United became more expansive. The right-sided gameplay, even though Rashford is better off the left, it suits United completely. Now, remember that shot that Rashford took and Ruben Dias had to cover that man. Suppose that Jadon Sancho or any XYZ winger was there, Ruben Dias would not have left the man in central, because Martial was leftish, Pogba and Bruno were making their way to the box, and Ruben Dias could let go of that position and actually made that tackle. Frightening, isn't it, how a right winger can completely change the setup of this game and actually put United in a position where they can dominate. And now most of you had said that Bruno had an off game. No. Don't just look on the ball. Look off the ball as well. Bruno, I have counted 5 times that every time that City had the ball with their goalkeeper or defense, Bruno started making runs to cut off that space, those half spaces, and it led City to play erroneous passes, and that's how we won possession. Not every day. You're like, Bruno was man-marked by Fernandinho. That was the plan all along, so that Pogba could get that space, and we saw how Pogba dominated in that match. Brilliant. That was tactical all along. Not every day Bruno Fernandes has to be on the wall and create chances. You have the Pogbas for that. You have the Rashfords for that. United are just not a one-man team. The play goes through Bruno Fernandes, but United are just not a one-man team at the moment of time. It's much more. It's more than it. You see, Rashford has to make the run. Martial has to cover those half spaces. It's all about that. His midfield partner Fred. It's testament that Ole trusts him so much. Now Fred was almost booted out by, and is still booted out by most of us, but his game has improved in leaps and bounds. I remember last season where all Fred was making are square passes and back passes. His touch was erroneous. Now you can see Fred dribbling past, sambaing past City defense, Fred making diagonal balls, winning that challenge and putting in pre-assists. Come on, give that man some credit. And this is all done down to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's continuous improvement. Fred putting in sessions with Michael Carrick, and suddenly Fred is a mainstay in the midfield. Probably your Bruno Fernandes and Fred, and probably a midfielder alongside Fred. That's how United's team strengthens. Now, defense is still an issue, but United have still improved on their defense. Now, if I show you the slide and we talk about the right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka misinterpreting that space, the City won the Gundogan goal that had been left wide open, where Wan-Bissaka should have been covering. A shades of Leipzig match where Angelino crept in and scored that goal. I talked about in the podcast where Ben Mendy, you can see it's crossing the ball. It's an error. It's a position that United have worked on. They have improved. Maguire has been solid since that 6-1 defeat. I just cannot see Maguire being blamed over here. Even though the goal conceded he could have done, but he'll get the blame for his price tag. But Marcus Rashford, come on, he let go of his man over there. It's not a blaming game, but it's a process. Individual errors happen all the time. You see the number of errors Ederson commits, Fernandinho commits. Even though he's a brilliant central midfield, he gives the ball away as well at times. Errors will happen. Errors are bound to happen at this point of time. You just cannot avoid it. And talking about the substitutions, one main talking point was Van de Beek. What they say is why Van de Beek isn't utilized. Now tell me one thing very seriously. What is a Van de Beek? To me, Van de Beek is not a number 10. He's a support striker playing off the front man. He's a one-touch pass expert. Why he should have come on earlier and he didn't, I'll explain to you. Because Van de Beek cannot dribble past 3 players and score your goal. He's not physically dominant, and he's one that will not play through passes. Van de Beek is very important as a player because that one-touch play is what United want to play. Suddenly you have a winger out wide, and Van de Beek comes into the play, and United have much more expansive offensive threat. But still, Van de Beek is still not there in Premier League terms. He misplaces a lot. He plays well in Europe because a lot of teams, there are open half spaces in Europe because European teams commit to attack, and he finds it easier over there to settle in. He's a brilliant player. I love him, but in the Premier League, it's much more physical, much more difficult. And see the likes of Fred, Rashford, Martial, how they have improved leaps and bounds under Ole Solskjaer. Just give him the benefit of the doubt, come on. And other wingers, where Mata doesn't have pace to counter on that right wing, you had to either take off Rashford or Martial to accommodate him. Would not have changed the game with one striker. And already Van de Beek or Mata, or the less I speak about James, because he's a good transitional player, but United need that possession stat as well as pace on the right side. None of them were proper game changers. None of them could have made an impact. And United's bench, even though we have quality players, just did not cut the cake while changing a game of this magnitude. And even Pep brought on Rodri to put in a 4-5-1 and cover those half spaces where United were utilizing. And even though a Dan James or a Van de Beek who utilizes those half spaces and makes those channel runs or plays those balls into a channel with quick one-touch play, there was none of them. Maybe in another game, but that match was not the game for these substitutions to happen. Come on. You have to understand the perplexity of the game. You have to understand the whole situation. Just cannot throw in names and hope something will happen. Come on. There's a tactical nuance about it. And now talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, how when he inherited that United squad and what he has now, You can see the likes of Andres Pereira. You can see the likes of Jesse Lingard. Now we have Van de Beek and Bruno Fernandes coming off in tandem. Now, talking about the transfers that he has had, Harry Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Daniel James, and in last January, Bruno Fernandes. That's the transfer quartet that he has bought. This season, a net spend of around 36 million in average. You can see the other teams have spent so much. Leeds coming popping up from the championship and spending so much, investing so much. United wanted that right winger, that was publicized very much, but decided to actually wait for Jadon Sancho because he is English and because of Brexit purposes. Suppose you take a winger from Italy or a Chiesa like that. Name one Italian player other than Gianfranco Zola or Fabio Cannavaro named well enough on outside the Premier League. Similarly, they're very homesick. English players are very homesick as well. And after Brexit, if that player does not stay, that winger does not want to stay, it is very difficult to find a replacement that is English and that could get a work permit. Amad Diallo is a future prospect as well as Facundo Pellistri, but waiting for Jadon Sancho was the smart call because 120 million in this COVID market, it's not my money to spend, but 120 million in this COVID market was absolute balls. Credit that they waited for it because that is a transfer that I feel is inevitable and it will happen, whoever we might sign, because the likes of Dan James might be shifted out because Facundo will step in, Amad Diallo will step in, but we need a natural out and out right winger who's traditional and who will play in those closes, a great dribbler. And for a squad strength of Amad Diallo's caliber and Jadon Sancho to have, that works for us very well. And that was a type of a signing that could have changed the game yesterday. And now people cry about Van de Beek. Gundogan had a stellar season in the 2014-15 where he transferred to Manchester City. And see how many minutes he has played. He has not been severely injured in that period. You need people for squad strength. You need people for certain games. You cannot expect every game to be played by every minute to be dominated by a single player. That just does not cut it. There are things, and in this fixture congestion, you cannot expect that to happen as well. And now, I know we waited for the right winger and a striker. Many of you say that Haaland, we missed out, that was a big L that we took out of Haaland. You are the same guys that say that kick Paul Pogba out because of Mino Raiola. And now tell me, other than those, what other strikers are there in the current market can come in and make a difference? Edinson Cavani was one that we waited upon and got the deal in the end. He's a top class striker, no two ways about it. But what are the other strikers? You can name a Cristiano Ronaldo, you can name a Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang who's not... Other than Haaland, this is very limited. And Lukaku, we know it's a move that happened for the betterment of both teams. And he's playing well in Italy. Good luck to him, but he doesn't cut it at United. In those close spaces where a forward needs to have a good fast touch, Lukaku just doesn't cut it. United will improve gradually, and just United are smart at this point of time. Maybe not going for, I don't know what will happen in the future. Maybe Pogba might sign a contract and Haaland might come in. That would be a dream signing. But if you want to avoid Mino Raiola, don't go for his clients. And as well, there are limited number 9s of what we are looking for in that age bracket, in that group, who can change the game. Maybe if you brought in a Dominic Calvert-Lewin or even a Danny Ings, most of them wouldn't have had that world-class impact or a star name at the mentality of what Edinson Cavani brings. Think about it, come on. Similarly, the fixtures that we have had this season, talk about the UCL group, a semi-finalist and a finalist. Europa League, people would have accepted Europa League before the group started. Many were trolling, but it's a process, it's an improvement. It was heartbreaking what we did, but even football games, these magnitudes are heartbreaking. They cannot be decided on paper. Yes, we beat PSG and PSG are a miles better team than us. They beat us as well. And we are competing on that level is another testament of how we have actually improved. Think about your ranting. Otherwise, you would have shot yourself in the foot thinking that we are going to face PSG and Leipzig and we are going to beat them. We actually lost to Istanbul, Başakşehir. But that's how the game of football is. United have definitely... See the Pogba situation, for instance. Under Jose Mourinho, Pogba wanted to leave and that was blown out of proportions on the media. He was benched, but currently Pogba still wants to leave and now there are smiles all around. It's not a big issue. Credit to Ole on how he has absolutely handled it. Yeah, I know he has some tactical errors. Even Klopp has tactical errors. Even Marcelo Bielsa of all people has tactical errors. Even your Pep Guardiola's, Jose Mourinho's get caught out on their tactics. That doesn't mean they are all bad managers. Yes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't have the pedigree, but what he's doing at Manchester United, yes, there is progress. Yes, you should give time, maybe one more season. The puzzle is almost complete. Like, you remember the signing of Mo Salah that completely perpetrated Liverpool into another dimension entirely. You see a Jadon Sancho or a winger coming in, and that right attacking berth is slotted. United get more space on midfield, more half spaces are created because we are not just limited to the left side of play. And suddenly you just see a flurry of United chances coming in. We are getting there. The process is still there. Just need to get some time and give the manager time. Come on, stand behind the manager, not like David Moyes. But there is improvement. There is, and in this situation, in the most difficultly contested Premier League seasons of all, being on Liverpool equal on points is actually how we have grown. I know it can go south in a few games because it's that much tight up the top of the table, where a mere 7 points separate the top side in the 10th place team. Just hopefully the Ole takes in this matter and gets either Dalot back or gets in Max Aarons to compete Wan-Bissaka, because you get in Alex Telles and Luke Shaw, that competition, but Wan-Bissaka has to play each and every minute. And the less I speak about Brandon, I thought Ethan Laird would have been promoted, but it's still rough as per Ole. But you just have to give the benefit of the doubt from where we were under Mourinho, not playing good football. We are suddenly playing better football. Squad is settling in. Like, you remember how United played out from the back. That has caused errors. Errors are where we learn from. If there isn't an error, we don't learn. Even City got caught playing out from the back. United are more confident with the ball. That's what Ole has tried to impose. Not kicking it out and conceding possession. Play out from the back, play out from the back, play out from the back. And United are suddenly, they are making their way out of the back. Fred is improving, all the players are improving, and we are having a decent spell of possession and actually dominating games, starting with the play of the back. That is persistence, and that doesn't happen overnight. Okay, that was pretty much about it. If you have enjoyed the video, do drop a like and a subscribe. Share with your friends. Hopefully I'll be doing the podcast about the Watford match. Do join in. With that, this is your boy Neil. Netflix football, subscriber count fatafat bada do. Local man, support me. Come on guys. With that, it's bye bye for now.